Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and give it just a moment to allow for the rest of the participants to join us, and then we'll go ahead and get started with today's topic. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So hello, welcome. My name is Bobby Lynn Kekik. I'm the Executive Director of Orientation and Student Onboarding at Bentley University, and I am so glad to be here with you today for our Falcon live chat entitled Living on Campus and Community Wellbeing and Safety. Our Falcon Live Chat series is our opportunity to have some on-demand content that's shared with our families, parents, supporters, guardians, to really help to give you the resources and knowledge about Bentley. So when your students may be coming to you and asking some of those questions, that you are informed to be able to share some of this content with them as well. You can rest assured that we are also sharing this with them, and their peers and fellow student leaders will be, but we know that you have been with your student for much longer than they've been here in the Bentley community, and we want to make sure that you're feeling comfortable to share these resources as well. This is being recorded, as we are fortunate that our Bentley community is one that is global, and we recognize you could never find a time that would work for everyone. So we thank those who are joining us live, but we are recording this so that you're able to come back to this or be able to view this at a time that's convenient for you. You can access this at our Bentley Orientation YouTube channel. And for those who have already registered, you will receive a direct link to this recording following this current presentation. In a moment, I'm going to introduce you to our campus experts, and they're going to share some information with you. But we did want to let you know that we will wait until the end of the content overview to be answering some questions. So if questions do arise, please feel free to post those in our Q&A button on your screen, and we will get to those at the end. With that being said, if time does not allow for us to answer every question, we will have a contact slide at the end so that you can reach out to us directly, and we'd be happy to continue the conversation. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'd love to introduce our first panelist. John Piga, would you like to start?
Thanks, Bill. Great to be here with you wherever you are in the world. My name is John Piga. I am an Associate Dean here at Bentley University, and I manage the care, conduct, and residence life components of this university. And I'm going to hand it off to Lauren.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you today. My name is Lauren Hubachek. I serve as the Interim Associate Dean for Health, Counseling, and Health Promotion. I'm excited to share some information about our amazing team with you this today. And to Frank.
Good morning, everybody. Is it still morning? No, I guess it's afternoon by a couple of minutes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Frank Bourgeois. I am the Chief of Police here at Bentley University. I am in my 30th year in law enforcement and my 5th year here at Bentley. And I speak to you today not only as a Chief of Police, but also as a recent or a parent of a recent graduate of Bentley University. My daughter just graduated in April of this year. Back to you, Bobby Lynn.
Wonderful. So before we get started on this important content that we're going to cover today, I did want to give a quick nod to what your students are currently experiencing and some of the other opportunities for you to be able to gain some resources and connections with our community. So right now in the new Falcon experience, your students have access to our online orientation program entitled Bentley Beginnings. This is something that you can also view if that's something that's of interest to you. We're also engaging with your student to complete some new student checklist items. These are really important tasks that your student needs to complete in advance of their arrival at Bentley. And that could be anything from filling out their health forms. If they're planning to live on campus, that would be their housing application and contract. So there's a variety of administrative tasks that your students are being asked to complete. And so we always encourage supporters to make sure that they're checking in with their students. While we are providing a lot of reminders and they do have direct access in their Bentley Connect portal, we recognize that this is a busy time in transition, whether your student is currently taking classes somewhere, whether they are, doing service or working or taking a break, caring for a family member, whatever their experience might be right now, we know that it is busy. And so we, always ask for any additional nudges that can happen. Another component to the new Falcon experience is that your student will register for their courses. And this happens on January 11th. In advance of that date, they will receive access to an advising and registration preparation website. And this provides them the opportunity to be able to click some different videos, learn about the process, get a better understanding of the courses that they should be registering for. And then in advance of that course registration date, they'll also have the opportunity to connect with our academic advisors in January to ensure that they're feeling fully prepared for that course registration. We then complement that with in-person advising once they come to orientation. So if there are still any questions or anything that needs to be addressed, then they can work directly with a staff member to ensure that they have their schedule set to go for classes, which will start on that Monday. We complement this with some virtual events. We recognize that nothing is going to replace the in-person experience, but we've seen some really great success with students being able to join us for virtual events to start to connect with current Bentley students, with their peers, win some great prizes, and have a lot of fun. We have a variety of social media campaigns. If you find yourself on Instagram or Facebook, please feel free to follow us there. There's some great reminders, and then again, opportunities to connect with our community. Our family resources and live chats. Well, you found us here, so you are at our live chat, and we'll talk a little bit more about what those other resources are. And then the pinnacle piece of our program is our spring orientation. Some of these other resources that you have access to, we will host a few more Falcon live chats over the rest of the month of December. So please make sure that you are registering for those or viewing our recordings. We also have a monthly family newsletter, so please check out for those. And then as we look into the spring semester, as I mentioned, we have that orientation program. So I wanted to make this an important note because the arrival of your student is going to look different depending on who they are. And so if your student is an international student, they will be arriving on January 17th. We will have a welcome reception that evening. So if you are joining your student for their travel, please feel free to join us for that welcome reception. There'll be some programming that following day for your student. And then our domestic residential students will be arriving on that January 18th. So as our domestic residential students are moving in, our international students will be completing some programming that morning. Then if your student is a commuter student, they will arrive on January 19th. And that's where we really kick off the full orientation experience for everyone. Now, for our family members, we will provide a virtual orientation workshop on February 7th. And this is an opportunity for you to be able to hear a little bit about what the orientation experience was for your students. You'll hear from our vice president, and welcome from our vice president. And then you'll also hear about some of the key resources in regards to the focus areas that your students will experience. So whether that's connection, inclusion and belonging, well-being, really making sure that you have an understanding of the ways that we will continue to support and engage your student. We'll also have a representative from our academic services team so that you can have a better scope of what that first year in regards to academics looks like for our students, that first semester and then that first full year as a whole. And then we always cap that with a student panel, so that way you can talk with some of our current students. So highly recommend you to join. And again, it's another opportunity that will be recorded. So if you're unable to join live, but are still interested in the content, you can access that recording on our YouTube channel. And last but not least, If you are looking for ways to stay connected to the Bentley community, our Office of Alumni and Family Engagement provides a variety of events throughout the year. Some of those are in person, some of those are virtual. I know they have a wonderful book club. They have a lot of different virtual presenters, so please check that out. We also have our Falcon weekend tradition, which happens in the fall. And this is an opportunity for alumni, current students, families, staff, faculty, and friends to come together and really celebrate being a part of this community. Also want to extend, if you are in the local area or if our team is traveling to your local area, please feel free to support us through our athletic events and other community events that you'll see. Now I'm going to pause and I'm going to turn it over to John to speak a little bit about living on campus, conduct, and care.
Well, thank you, BL. As I was listening to you detail the dates, it made me recall how exciting it is to welcome new families to Bentley. And part of that excitement is sharing with you our lovely campus. We are situated in Waltham, literally a short walk, well, maybe a longer walk to Boston, but you can get there in about 5 minutes. So we're perfectly situated between the urban center of Boston and the suburban area, beautiful suburban area of the surroundings of Boston. Our campus is like a little island, a little jewel on a hill, and it is a hill. We are a tiered residential system. We have apartments, halls, and suites, and in more simple language, that means that students have three options of how to live. And typically our first year students are in what we consider to be halls, which is more traditional housing situations where they're typically in doubles, sometimes in singles, sometimes in triples. They have a shared living experience in their residence halls, a shared bathroom. They have a meal plan that they go to. And really the intent behind that configuration is to make their lives as simple as possible as they're about to take on all this new complexity, moving away from home, taking college classes. The idea behind a residence hall is to really allow them to explore those things, explore their education, explore their new friends, without a concern about managing a large living area, cooking for themselves, navigating multiple roommates. That will happen later as they get a little bit more comfortable, as they get a little bit more adept at figuring out what they need to do in order to be successful. Our campus is on a hill, as I referenced before, and the main campus is where most of the first year students live. The lower campus is where most of our athletic fields are and where some apartment and suite style dwellings are. And the upper campus is where mostly apartment students live. It's and where the academic buildings are as well. So the way that we manage the residential campus and the way we support our students is we have RAs that are spread throughout the entire geographic area, 98 RAs. They are managed by residence directors. We have fully 13 full-time live-on professional staff that work in residence life. 5 of those are actually central office staff to manage processes and to manage housing, logistics, and so forth. 7 are intended to be managing the RAs and dealing with day-to-day concerns and at-night concerns as well, because they do live on. They actually do understand the student experience and are able to go to scenes whenever the need arises. And that leads us to have a pretty good sense, a pretty good pulse on what is happening in the buildings, and sometimes able to have corrective conversations right there and then, or to resolve situations or resolve confusion or support students as they need it, because students live here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not just when they're going to classes. So the system is really set up to be there for the students when they need it. Every once in a while, students engage in behavior that might need a little conversation, and that's where kind of conduct comes in. And the point of conduct at Bentley is educational. It's there to teach students good decision making. It's there to teach students what it means to live amongst your peers. And sometimes that can be challenging if you've never lived with other people, or if you feel like your behavior doesn't affect others. The point of conduct is to kind of clarify, teach, engage, and give students an opportunity to say their piece and hear back from their peers, certainly in a board setting, hear back from their peers about how behavior affected them. The intent is never to be punitive. It is intended to be actually educational. And should your student be involved in conduct and it's ever a serious matter, which I doubt it will be, we would always reach out to you and talk to you about it as well. On the flip side of conduct is care. And CARE is another network of professionals and reporting systems that allow us to understand when students are struggling in some way, shape, or form. And the CARE system plugs directly into the residence life system. So if we get a report, and reports can come from anyone, it can come from a faculty member, it can come from a family member, it can come from their peers, about a student mentioning that they'd had a difficult circumstance in their lives. And this can run the gamut. It can be, students are sad about doing poorly on a test, to finding out that their pet passed away, to having an argument with a close friend. The CARE system is intended to be able to reach out to these students to make sure that they're doing okay, check in with them, and have follow-up available as well. And on the CARE team are components of the entire university, from academic services to university police to student activities to a variety of different offices, all intended to reach out to students that they might be connected with in a way that allows the students to hear the advice and to hear the support in a more ready fashion. I think both with conduct and care, the teams that I manage are very much connected to other departments on campus. And amongst the departments that they're most connected to are actually two people on this screen. But the person I'm going to hand it off to is actually the person who manages the department she's going to talk to you about, health and wellness and counseling as well. And I'll hand it off to Lauren so she can talk about those services as well.
Thanks, John. I'm excited to share about our teams and our work. And I think what you'll hear from the three of us that are presenting today is that we work in concert together very often to support our students so that they can continue to remain successful inside and outside the classroom. So I'll share a little bit about community well-being and how we think about it here at Bentley. But I work with a robust team of professionals who are licensed in their respective areas and are committed to high quality, inclusive, and evidence-based care that supports the identities and beliefs and experiences of all of our students. So we do this through a variety of ways. And here you'll see direct clinical and psychological services, prevention-focused initiatives, which includes some of those things that are on that checklist for your new students, infrastructure and capacity building for our students, supporting our students' resilience in the process of transitioning to Bentley, through Bentley, and beyond Bentley. And then the creation of foundation for balance, ethical decision-making, and social accountability. And those things are not only important for before students arrive at Bentley, while they're here at Bentley, but essentially are essential components of future employment post-Bentley. So excited to support students in the development of that process through education. We'll go to the next slide. So what we really want to hope that you see here is that we offer a full range of services from our health center, our health promotion and well-being and counseling center. I'm going to share a little bit about each one, and I wanted to put the hours and different activities that happen so that you're aware that your student is supported 24/7 on our campus. And so while our health center has in-person offices with office hours with nurse practitioners and trained professionals, we also have an after-office nurse line that students can access 24/7. The ability for students to self-schedule is one of the highlights of programming efforts that happened this year. Our students can log on in the middle of the night when they're not feeling well and make a quick appointment for the next day to be seen in person. And so we do that in our health center with that support of that nurse advice line. We often, our office visits are probably one of the key components of the work that we do, but we're also doing immunizations, prescriptions, lab testing. And so this is a confidential resource. It's the health center is included as part of the tuition. And then the prescriptions and labs and immunizations are based on your insurance. In the health promotion area, we really think of that area as the area that's preventative, resource support, coaching activities. So we have a team of 3 folks that do that work. They're helping to navigate students who may have some questions or need some supports in developing healthy sleep habits or managing stress. So we support students that way. We're also doing some of the preventative work on our campus in partnership and training with students who are student leaders or in student employment positions on our campus. So you'll see a lot of conversation with our students about healthy habits and through that work. And then the counseling center, meet with students who experience mental health related stress. We can provide short-term individual and group counseling. You'll see we have both in-person hours, and then we have a 24/7 support line. This also has capability of self-scheduling. In addition to the number of licensed professionals we have on our campus, we partner with 2 amazing components called Better Mind and Thriving Campus. Better Mind allows us to diversify our clinicians and also expand our hours of reach for students to engage in. And so Better Minds is a teletherapy, one-on-one counseling, which students can go and schedule on their own. It's through our services, but it's confidential as well, and supports our students in, often students are meeting with their counselors nights, weekends, early mornings, whatever works for their schedule. In addition, we know that there has been a challenge for some folks finding counselors or therapists in areas that they're looking for very specific things. We've partnered with Thriving Campus, which is the opportunity for a student to review a website, find counselors that match who they're interested in speaking with, who also can shows their availability and the availability to meet pretty quickly rather than kind of scheduling a month out or 2 months out, which is happening in our support areas around us. So Thriving Campus has helped us to expand our reach for students, expand access to supports and resources, and we're lucky to have them. In addition, we have the counseling center not only has, the one-on-one appointments, but they also go out into the community and partner with a number of our colleagues and departments across the division. And so you would maybe see, or your students would engage with a counselor as part of the activities that they may do in athletics, or partners with our multicultural student center. So we have a variety of places where we're engaging counselors outside the physical counseling center. As Bobby Lynn shared at the beginning, one of those pieces that my team would be on me if I did not share with you is that checklist. So if you can encourage your students to ensure that new student's checklist is being completed, immunizations is one of the things that we have to move forward before your student arrives. So we hope that you two take that checklist and are able to mark some of those boxes off. All of this work can't be done without our amazing colleagues in University Police. And so I'm going to turn it over to Frank to share a little bit about his work.
Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. Before I get into the University Police, I just want to recap one thing that Lauren and John both touched on, and Bobby Lynn to an extent. And I think Lauren referred to it as something that, get the exact terminology, it just escaped me. But how we work in concert was what it was, Lauren. That's what you said. And that's something that I'm very proud of, because the end product there is just an outstanding amount of resources and support for students here in the Department of Student Affairs, Division of Student Affairs. So I want to thank the 3 of them for making my job easier and making that student experience outstanding. And again, I say that as a parent as well. From a police department perspective, it says campus safety here, and that is 100% accurate. But we are a full-time police department. We are fully accredited in the state of Massachusetts under the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission. That's a pretty big standard to achieve. There are only there are only 15 collegiate police departments in Massachusetts that are accredited, and we are one of them. We receive the same training as any other police officers in your respective municipality, and we have full police powers. We are also deputy chiefs under the Middlesex Sheriff's Office as well. If you look on our website, you'll notice that our commitment is a community-centric approach in developing relationships. And I'm very proud to say that our officers are on first name basis with so many of our students. We engage in so many events with them that we are invited to. We were recently playing wiffle ball with a fraternity, and then we then had a kickball game with the Multicultural Center. And these are just events that really have woven us into the community and made for a better experience for all. In a recent survey of students on our campus, they said that 97% of them felt safe, and that's a very high number and something that I'm very proud of. All of our officers received, in addition to the training required by the state, there's additional training, and that training is specific to the community that we police. Items with mental health and first aid training, and CLARI, which is federal regulations require us to post our number of incidents that we have on campus. And if you go to our website, you'll notice that there is a link on there that will take you to those CLARI statistics that'll show you the number of calls that we've had in the last 3 years and the type of calls that we respond to. You can see here it's over 10,000 calls per day. And that, Bobby Lynn, was there more to this screen that that I provided, or was this just okay. Very important. I can't forget one of my most important officers here. This is Blue. Blue is our comfort dog, been with us now for about 2 to 3 years. Blue has had such a tremendous impact on our community. The students all know him by name, and has really been a support service to the counseling center and Lauren's team there. Blue goes all over campuses, invited all different types of events, and it's really helped us with our commitment to community engagement. And some more photographs of some of the events that we take part in around campus, from raising the pride flag to swearing in new officers. There's a turkey on the right hand side there, kind of apropos given the holiday we just celebrated. But yeah, that turkey had flown into a window, and then we helped that turkey go back into the wild. So we do a little bit of everything here. But we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If your student needs anything, they call here either on an emergency line or on our business line, and we will be there. As I tell them, the officers, we are to some extent their parents when their parents can't be here, and we'll make sure that they have a great experience, and whatever they need, that we will provide them with exactly what you would expect us to provide them with. So with that said, I thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn it back to Bobby Lynn.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This is, such great information. And as all of the presenters shared, I really do think that our division and our institution works incredibly collaboratively to ensure that your student does have a positive experience, and that if they are facing challenges, that we connect them with the resources so that they can thrive and be successful at Bentley. So with that being said, I do want to go ahead and open it up to any questions that folks may have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that way we can see all of our panelists today. And before we wrap up today, I will make sure to come back to this so that I can share our contact information. All right, so please don't be shy. You're welcome to post any questions that you might have, whether it's content that we've covered or something that is on your mind, using our Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. While we wait for some questions to pose, Frank, I know that you offered up that you are a parent of a recent alum. Is there anything or any advice that you'd like to share with families as they think about their students starting their journey here at Bentley?
I mean, there's so much, right? There's so much to respond to there. I can tell you that my daughter just graduated in April. She had an incredible experience here at Bentley University. She has friends for life. I can promise you that. She was involved in sorority life. She was involved in a lot of different campus groups and things of that nature. And she's off and running in the work world right now, and wishing she was back here. The one thing that I think our university is good about promoting, and I'm gonna take a page out of the university's book, is my advice would be for students to get involved in things that they normally wouldn't be involved in, and try a little bit of everything, and try things different, because it's a chance to explore, and it's a chance to grow. And I've found so many students that have done that and have been so successful in making new friends and trying something different. And so that's that. But yeah, it's this is an incredible institution. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud to say that not only am I the chief of police here, but also a parent here. And yeah, just yeah, it's going to sound like I'm being paid to say all that, so I'm going to stop there.
I get the sense that you could probably talk at hours for how to maximize this. So I appreciate you sharing that. Wonderful. Lauren or John, are there any tips or bits of information that you think are helpful, whether it's from, you know, the Bentley perspective or your areas that you think is helpful for families to be thinking of right now?
Yeah, I think two things I would say. Your student will evolve here. And the difference between a first-year student and a second-year student, a third-year student is pretty remarkable, from the confidence level to their ability to present ideas, present their thoughts. It is a really remarkable transition that I think their experience here allows for. Regarding tips, I would say, for me, I think the basics are probably the most important things, and that is check in with your student to ensure that, and they get excited. You know, we all get excited in new environments, but sleep is still important, even if you're, you know, 18, 19 years old and think you can go 23 hours a day. Sleep, food, taking care of yourself is something that as a parent, I always check in on. And when we talk to our students, we always remind them of balance in life. Mm-hmm. Yes, by all means, take advantage of all that Bentley has to offer, but don't forget about yourself. You are the instrument through which these ideas and thoughts become manifest. You're the most important thing to us. And I always reflect that back to our parents and students, that the basics still hold true, even as they get older and as they go out on their own. So I'll turn it over to Lauren.
Thanks, John. I'm not sure I can follow that, but I will share that I think that transition to a new experience, like coming to Bentley, can bring up some things, can bring up a little anxiety, can bring up some concerns, or navigating some things. These are all feelings that many students have had. You are your student, and you are not alone. So I would encourage students, as they think about those things or having those conversations, that we are a coordinated effort here on campus of support and care for our students, and we encourage them to speak up, speak often, share their information that their feelings are having, whether it's with a resident assistant or whether it's with their folks that they're connected to on campus for a variety of reasons. We have a strong coordination of care and support here, and once we bring a student in, we're pretty much able to navigate a lot of things for that student and acknowledge that some of the feelings that they may be having or some of the things that they're navigating are things that many students do when they're not alone in that effort. So our goal is to make sure that they're healthy, safe, and can be in that classroom, be active in the classroom, but also be active outside, and have a great Bentley experience.
Wonderful. So with that, I did want to take a quick moment to share our contact information. I will also include this in the description of this recording. So if you do not catch this right now as we're doing this live, please know that you can come back to it. As you can see, we have a dedicated staff and faculty, a coordinated community effort here at Bentley, and we really do want to work with you and your student to ensure that they can be successful. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us, and we look forward to meeting you and your student in January, and we hope that you take care. Thanks for joining us.